A low, harmonious drone of deep human voices fills a cavernous room of bare flagstones, ancient black brick. It's dark, though there is some light from a source we don't see. The light is unwavering, but cold, starkly white, and the shadow cast upon the floor is broken into three, no two of them quite the same shape. A figure steps forward, draped in a shapeless velvet robe. It's this figure which casts the enigmatic triple shadow, and it kneels upon the floor. A hand emerges from a long, deep sleeve, clutching a large puck of charcoal, which is now dragged upon the floor. When this process is complete, the robed figure sits in the exact center of a perfect circle, several feet in diameter. The chant changes, so subtly that you might not notice it. But some of the deep droning notes change their position on this strange and unidentifiable chord. And perhaps you might also notice new notes joining them, notes not being sung by those in the room. The figure in the center of the circle is not done drawing yet and remains upon its knees. The circle is divided into halves, sharp lines, perfectly straight, bisecting it perfectly along its central axis. Another line, perfectly perpendicular, divides it into four, two more until the circle is divided into 8 segments. And now the figure kneels upon the center of this wheel of charcoal. Its movements do not seem to scuff the geometric markings, as though the charcoal is not merely upon the stone, but soaked into it. The drone grows louder and more complex. The figure continues drawing, now not geometric shapes, but strange glyphs that slide from your memory or would. You could jot them down, but your pencil would snap. Your pages would become brittle. Ash. The figure stands, part of its work done, the first of the circle's 8 segments filled, and high above the skies of London, one by one, the skies, stars, are blotted. That's probably it.
Oof.
And we have a clock. The Gathering Storm. So, you are all at the Millennium Club. We're going to go back in time a few days before this adventure begins. You're back at the Millennium Club. You've just retrieved Amelia's cello and a few other of her bits and pieces. And so touched by the effort you've gone to do this, she admits to you that she hasn't been entirely honest, and says that in recompense for your kind treatment of her, the time has come to explain what she's up to. Some time ago, when you first brought me here, I told Mr. Hound that I was in hiding because McCreary was trying to kill me. Indeed, Mr. Hound, that is how we met, is it not?
That's right.
But the truth is, he's not after me. I'm after him. The part of my story that I told you that was true, McCreary is responsible for the death of my parents. And my father and my brother, my family had always had some rather, what I suppose you'd call, idiosyncratic traditions. Do you remember when this was before your time, Mr. We celebrated Twelfth Night together? In our house, Twelfth Night was almost as important as Christmas itself. The rites and songs, the merriment, the Lord of Misrule, those are all as much part of our family religion as Jesus in the manger and Come All Ye Faithful. My father and then later on my brother were part of a Well, a secret order. When I was a girl, I always thought it was the Freemasons, but no. My brother Jacob, after he joined, never helped himself. He always told me everything. He said it was more Arthurian than Masonic. Apparently, they all swore allegiance to some mythical figure called the Archer. His distinctive signet ring showed me one, a hare riding a hound. He wouldn't tell me much of what went on. I think he would have done if he hadn't been. But he was under the impression that there were several influential people in the society. But my father and brother's chapter was led by Seamus McCreary, whom I overheard on several occasions when I wasn't meant. They kept calling him Lord. They spoke about him as though his power extended over them beyond their covert meetings into the outside world. They were answerable to him anyway, even though they weren't members of his criminal outfit. Anyway, one other thing I picked up from eavesdropping was that McCreary and my father clearly detested each other. One day my father did not come. 3 nights after that, I was awoken some ungodly hour by my brother. He handed me his signet ring, said 3 words. It's McCreary. And run I did. And when I'd calmed down and finished grieving for what I was certain then were I began to investigate. My brother gave me that hare and hound ring for a reason. She told me it was. Anyway, I discovered this society, this conspiracy, whatever it is, it runs quite deep. It's not just a harmless bit of pomp and charitable donation like the Freemasons. What I know from my inquiries is the order does admit females. I think they might be anarchists. I'm not completely clear, but it seems very strange to me. My father was an honourable and decent man, about as far from Seamus McCreary as one could possibly imagine. I don't know what kind of organisation includes them both, but I'm determined to find out. I owe McCreary a debt. Although I'm not a violent person, there are ways one can engineer vengeance. Perhaps my association, the infamous assassins, gentlemen strangers, may prove to my profit, but I won't make any presumptions. What it comes down to is this. When you took me in, out of some combination of suspicion, McCreary believed I was a present threat to him. Some months have passed. And I would like to offer a bargain. If you allow me my freedom to come and go as I please, I in return will offer you my skills. You already know that I'm an enthusiastic folklorist. I have some knowledge of Eldritch. But more than that, I believe I do not speak immodestly when I say that I'm gifted, cunning, and I'm observant. I'm adept at moving about unseen, and while I'm no killer, you need information. You need to know things. You all have personas. You have day-to-day lives. I don't. I can be anyone, any hour of the day. If you allow me the freedom to pursue my strange, in return, I will feed you information. Anything you ask me to. And Mr. Spider, I'll continue to help you with strange articles.
If I may, given that should McCreary find out about your continued existence, it would reflect very poorly on us. But most importantly of all, and most imminently of all, it would reflect very poorly upon Mr. Hound. I don't doubt that the deniability the rest of us might have would be very low indeed. But I think the decision to allow you to, as you put it, come and go as you please, should fall to the man who will almost certainly catch a bullet should you be discovered, Miss Amelia.
I have only been discovered by Seamus McCreary once, because I wished it to happen. I wanted to know what his response would be. And his response told me a great deal. He did not send one of his own men against me. Contracted a killer outside of his organization. Seamus McCreary has no reason to do that. His behavior has intrigued me. I promise you, Mr. Spider, Seamus McCreary will not see me again. As I said, I certainly wish him harm, but I am not myself particularly purveyor of harm. Well, that kind of harm. I certainly intend to undermine.
Oh, quite right. Quite right. Mr. Hound, what say you?
I will put it first to Mr. Lurk and Mr. Leech before I make final judgment in case there is any objection to the decision being mine.
So given Mr. Lurk's experience, given that he is very good at also not being found when he doesn't want to be, does he, I guess, like, do I believe that she is telling the truth based on what I know about Amelia? Like, is she actually as good as she says that she is?
Highly valid question. The answer can only be that it's unclear. Only because, of course, you were professional and discreet when at her aunt's. Not. Yeah, I'd love to be able to give you more information. I think the answer has to be unclear.
Mr. Hound, I think it's up to you.
Then, given the aid that you've given us in the past and the clearly stated and well-argued opportunity you present, I would like to extend to you an offer of freedom.
As generous as always, Mr. Thank you. I promise you, you will have as much of a portion of my time as I can offer. If you will permit me to continue to reside here when I can, this is already a covert enough base of operation. Though I doubt I will be here entirely off. We will consider some arrangements you might make if you want to get in touch. had a few.
That was going to be my exact question.
Well, off the top of my head, the Millennium Club has a flagpole, and London is not short of urchins.
I like it. Elegant.
Thank you all. It may well turn out that this Archer King and his mysterious court are of interest. I see no reason not to report their doings.
No, indeed, the group in question has now quite piqued my interest, Miss Amelia.
Well, so yeah, that was a few nights ago. That was a few nights ago. Amelia departed about a night ago. She doesn't have. I mean, all of the things that you brought with you. The former Mr. Cutter, of course, brought her quite a considerable wardrobe, having a number of clothes herself, and she's pretty much covered there, and she's left her cello and various other precious articles. Yeah, I think the system is pretty simple. I think you have a flagpole, and I think that there's a pretty simple system of how many rings you thread the flag through. Not noticeable to anyone on the street, but noticeable to a passing urchin who will be told what to look, be able to run a message. You have, if you look in the crew, we don't have to look, I'll tell you, but in the crew character sheet, you have now got Amelia as an expert. She is an informant, spy, and a mystic occultist. She is independent and loyal, which means she's able to take the initiative. Sometimes she'll just bring you things without you asking. And loyal means that there's no way anyone can coerce her by any means at all into betraying you. But she is elusive, which means you won't just be able to summon her and rely on her being able to show up every time. And she's principled. She simply will not engage in violence except in direst defense. She's particularly good at when she's acting as a spy, but she gets your tier +1 in dice when acting. And okay, so sometime later, you are all drinking in the Aventine, as is your wont, because that's where people know to find you, not to know inside the Millennium Club. When a man in distinctly working class attire approaches you, Hound and Spider, you know exactly who this man is. This is Sergeant Walker of the Metropolitan Police, who is technically corrupt since he passes information to you, but is morally fairly upstanding. Like you, he has an awareness of the eldritch underbelly of London, and like you, he knows perfectly well that neither he nor the bobbies of London have any business interfering in that sort of thing. And he had apparently done some sort of work for Madam Whisper, because he was in Madam Whisper's list of contacts that from her upon adopting the of gentlemen strangers. Normally, when he comes into the Aventine, he sort of looks about nervously. It's really not his kind of place. But this time he approaches you directly. Clearly has something weighing on his mind. Michael, to answer your question, the gentlemen strangers are tier 1 now. They graduated not long after, not long towards the end.
I thought you were talking to Mr. Hound, Michael, and I was like, huh? What question?
I know.
Have I missed a question in the group chat?
I know. I normally say Bowman. That's kind of odd, isn't it?
Especially since we shorten Mike's name to Michael for James.
We do. We're very strange people. So yeah, he approaches the. He doesn't, of course, presume to sit down. Takes off his hat.
Sergeant, do join us.
Yes, very kind of you. Yeah, thank you. Look, I'll get right to it. I only found out an hour ago myself. Okay, so don't. There was no delay. Words come down to us that there's a gang called the Gentlemen Strangers. Rumor has it they've been knocking people off in odd places here and there. Some have connected you with that bloody business with Elias Crane over Christmas. Now, I'm not asking. Nobody's out for you yet, but I thought you ought to know someone somewhere has a file on you. And if any of you's found out to be in connection with the strangers, well, there is a warrant out. I don't think they can prove murder, but you might be in for a bit of trouble.
Heavens.
Now, because it's not... I don't even think the inspector's looked at it, right? It means it's still in my orbit. I can put a certain amount of work into trying to stop that file growing, if you catch my drift. Things go missing. And us peelers aren't exactly the most literate members of society, as it were, you know, not known for our perfect note-taking. But I've been very busy of late with certain... If those persons should stop being in, I'd have time for more paperwork. I'm not trying to shake you down. I'm telling you the facts. I'm very busy. I can help you keep your file as slim as possible, stop Inspector Hellstreet from opening it. But to do that, I need less on my plate. And I think you can help me with it. If you're willing.
As flattered as we are to have a file on us anywhere in London, perhaps, gentlemen, we would like to keep this one as pamphlet-like as possible. Go on, Sergeant. We will hear about your woes.
My biggest problem at the moment is one of McCreary's goods.
Of course.
Now, up on King Street, not the King Street, the one off Longacre, just down the road from here, right? Guy's name's McAlliskey, and extorting more than the usual sums from all the business owners. And normally, they're happy to pay up. But he's been getting greedy, and unfortunately, then not being able to pay means violence becomes a problem. And violence is, unfortunately, my problem, my boy's problem. So, I think, while it would be a very great deal to ask for King Street to stop being under the thumb of a organization, perhaps it could come under the thumb of a more honourable criminal organisation. One that I don't have to pay attention to.
What kind of trouble is he to you?
The trouble he's doing to me is he's one of McCreary's senior lieutenants. Rumours are that he's got an eye on the leadership position. Now, I don't care about that, but as long as he's making waves, he's making trouble for me, he's making trouble for the shopkeepers of King Street. And as long as the people of King Street feel like their protection money isn't going anywhere, they're coming to me. Now, I'm perfectly happy to protect them after they've already been robbed, but as you know, the Met doesn't exactly exist to prevent crime.
What's he got by way of resources?
Well, that's a good question, Mr. Round. I don't think he needs this. I don't think he's being shaken down by McCreary. I think he's trying to test the waters. I think he's trying to provoke the last thing in. I don't... Look, I'm not going to tell you what to do, frankly, because there's only so far I can go to encourage your kind of way of doing it. But Mr. McAlliskey needs to be discouraged rapidly. As the French say, toot bloody sweet.
Discouraged. Discouraged we can do. How attached to this do you wish to be?
The next time I want to read the name Ronan McAlliskey, polite letter from him apologising for all the hassle he's put me through.
We shall see what we can do then.
All right, I'll leave it with you.
Do
On your time scale. But
you say toot bloody sweet?
that's right, it's French. My wife's mother's French. Not that I know much of it. I know how to say "poop bloody sweet" and "unros beef, por favor," but I don't think "por favor's" right. Anyway, I'll be off with me. Night, chaps.
Good night,
Good
Sarge.
evening.
Punches his hat back on his head and strides out.
Remarkable. Mr. Hound. Forgive me. Matters of this sort seem to be yours and Mr. Lurk's area of expertise. Unless you want me to write some threatening notes.
What we could benefit from doing is knowing the full ins and outs of this individual's day to day, so we can better understand how to cut the legs out from under them.
Yeah,
I've-
I agree. I can keep an eye on him if you need me to. Real discreet like.
I think if you can get a scope of what a typical day looks like for him, I can get an idea of what a typical home is like for him. The marrying of our two skills will be exemplary.
I won't lie, I ain't keen on working with cops, but I think he's right. It ain't right what this guy's up to.
We find that salt of the earth bobbies like the sergeant are certainly far more worth our time.
Plus, what this presents to us is essentially a win-win. We are dealing with someone within McCreary's sphere of influence. However, if we can also gather evidence that he was going to make an attempt at McCreary's head spot as the individual in charge, that then becomes something that we could use to curry favor with McCreary if we're in a position to need it.
All right, good deal.
Mr. Leech, do you have any potential inputs on this individual in question?
Oh, I'm just gonna follow you guys' leads and see where we go.
Righto.
Okay, fantastic. So it seems like we'd best start with Mr. Lurk then.
Mm-hmm.
Lurk. So what's the plan? We heading down to King Street?
Yes. Yeah, I think I just want to, keep an eye, just be one in the crowd, but watch him as he goes about his day.
Okay. So let's give me a roll then. As you inspect the street, I suspect it's a survey roll. Could be study, perhaps.
Yeah. Well, yeah, let's do survey. Controlled,
Yeah.
standard.
Yep.
Submit, bonus dice, none. I don't know what I just rolled. Where is that?
Okay.
A
you've
4
rolled,
and a 3.
You've rolled.
Oh wait, no, that's. I
think
lied. I was in the wrong spot in the
Oh.
chat.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so a 3. Okay. So you You're trying to catch sight of anyone who obviously, you know how these sorts of people operate. They're basically full of swagger. They don't have
Yeah.
your subtlety. They broadcast what they are. And you can see someone who probably fits the bill, in that he is essentially flanked, almost a bodyguard, honor guard of other puffs. Unfortunately, you don't get an impression of his standard behavior because he spots someone in the crowd who apparently owes him money, and goes running after him. And that's that. He doesn't return. But you do see the shopkeeper of the shop. He was outside when this began, and he sort of comes out and peers down the street nervously, holding what looks like a pouch.
I don't think I want to engage with the shopkeeper, but I will sort of take note of which shop it is, who this guy is, so that later we can potentially go talk to him if we need to.
The title of the business, Chubb's Uppercuts.
Chubb's Uppercuts, good.
Punch people, did you cut their hair? I guess we'll never know. This is a very commercial street, not like high class kind of stuff, but definitely the sorts of places where respectable people.
I think Mr. Lurk has decided that next time he needs a haircut, this is where he's going to go.
Especially funny if it's not a hairdresser.
Yeah.
You can try to follow, keep up with the suspected Mr. McAlliskey.
I would like to, but I want to be as, because like you said that he's like running after him.
Yeah.
So I want to follow, but I don't want to go quickly, and I don't know if that's possible.
Absolutely, that's possible. I mean, you could do a prowl. I mean, Mr. Lurk probably knows how to. The thing is, when you're running, when there's three of you and you're running through a crowd, you're probably not going all that quickly. Lurk isn't panicking. Lurk isn't worried about these gangsters, so he can make his way through the crowd, I think, in a fairly productive way. I think that sounds like a prowl to me.
Okie doke.
I'm gonna go with risky.
Ooh, okie doke.
Just because you are pursuing a dangerous man.
Oh gosh.
Ooh. You've rolled a 6. That's good. Perfect success. So, good. You are able to discern that this is indeed a Mr. McAlliskey from the pathetic pleading of the gentleman successfully put up with. And no one gives you a second glance. You haven't attracted the slightest bit of attention. And so you're able to get a little closer than you might have done if you set the apple cart. Maybe a literal apple cart. And you pick up on, well, calling it a conversation is possibly a little generous, but you pick up on the exchange, and what you get is that this is actually one of the local business owners. And McAlliskey is guys on the ground, and one of McAlliskey's goons has a foot on his cart, and the guys blubbing and begging. You can't really hear what you get the gist. Please no, so on. I'll pay. McAlliskey says, that the rate's gone up because he ran. Says, I'm not going to bother breaking your. You won't be able to do your job if I break. But collection is tonight, and if you don't have the money then, you've still got fingers. And with that, he has his goon up. He walks away, and the poor whimpering shopkeeper left with a small crowd discreetly. He's still down on the ground. I mean, he's not getting up. More shaken than.
Do I engage with the shopkeeper? That's the question.
Drive it like you stole it. Do it.
Okay. I don't even know what I would ask him. I guess like where the collection is, perhaps.
You could, as kind of an in, you could establish, like, pretend you're opening a business nearby, and so like, is this something that you need to be aware of? Try and get the ins that way.
Yeah, don't fret too much about like getting all the information. Don't overthink it. You just establish a rapport, see where that goes.
All right,
maybe drinks, maybe a little dancing.
Perfect.
Is this not just setting Mr. Lurk up on a date with every person we come across?
Excuse you, he is married. He is perfectly happily married.
Unfortunately, this is also standard Trash Crew practice.
Hey.
The first campaign I GM'd was a Dragon Age game, and I think every NPC ended up on part of the. I don't understand.
Perfect.
I played a miserable, very, very grumpy asexual. I will have you know.
That's true. But Sarah fell in love with every NPC.
And PC.
Sarah. Yes. Okay. So you go up to the poor benighted shopkeeper who is utterly failing to recover any kind of dig. I said I'd pay.
Don't worry. I think that he's going to do his best British accent here just to try and seem a little more, like he's one of the locals. All right. It's hard to do stacking accents here. Fuck. Okay. It's all right. I'm here. Let me help you up.
Oh. Well, thank you, my German friend. It's very kind of you.
I love you so much. Not a single vowel. I was waiting for just one vowel to be correct. Not across the board.
There's a rite of passage one day. Izzy will teach you the only British phrase you'll ever need, which is "what a twat."
What a twat!
What a twat!
Oh my goodness! There it is. You said "what a twat." There we go. You're crew now.
It's tripping.
Well, I can do like I can at least pretend to do a British accent, but I'm trying to do a person with a heavy Southern accent doing a British accent.
Someone else's accent, trying to do another accent on top of that.
What I loved was I was listening so intently, waiting for any of the vowels, and it's just
nope.
Mr. Lurk started wrong and just kind of pendulumed out like, this is correct. Is it not?
Yeah, you help him up, and he starts sort of fruitlessly dusting himself down, but he's just covered in street.
I'm gonna offer him a handkerchief.
Oh,
it's a dirty handkerchief, but it's
it's cleaner than my coat. Thank you very much. Oh, well, I think I've attracted quite enough attention being get back.
Who were those people?
Well, an enterprising businessman of the area.
That didn't look like business to me.
Well, unfortunately, matters between us have degenerated. So
Mm.
relationship.
Is that something I should be worried about? I'm planning on opening up a business once I can get the funds.
Oh, well, what's your trade?
Oh shit. Haberdashery.
Oh, good. Oh, wonderful. Yes, that's excellent. Um, we could do with seeing what the Prussian fashions are. No, I think that well, it didn't used to be so bad actually. Will you help me? Will you walk with me? We'll get a cup of tea.
Oh, of
which-
course. I love tea.
Yes. What do you do? What premises were you thinking of setting up in?
He's just gonna bullshit some.
I heard
Just
Holton's
kind
thinking
of
selling up.
vague.
See.
Oh yes, yep.
Well, oh, lovely place. It's small for haberdashers, don't you think? Well, then again, I suppose you don't have to do it all like these days. Probably, are you importing or manufacturing? Game.
Oh, importing, of course.
I'm really liking importing. Of
This
course.
is
Oh, that's really good. Oh right. I see. Well, much luck to you. No, it didn't used to be so bad. You see, things around here, there's all sorts of unsavory types. Mr. McAlliskey there is one of them. Took on the duty of allegedly, reportedly, protecting. But no. We all used to pay a rate and we wouldn't have any trouble from burglars. But a few months ago the rate went up, and a few weeks ago the rate went up again, and there's already rumours it might further increase. And well, even when business is booming, I'm paying as much to McAlliskey as I am rent on the shop. Don't see the point. And I happened to organise perhaps we could all of us together write a letter to McAlliskey and explain our plight. Suggest that perhaps he would be more successful in extracting regular payment.
and that didn't work out.
Well, no. 3 people came to my meeting. No one wanted to write the letter. But unfortunately, you may as well know the bobbies aren't up to much. Unless every shop wants to hire a guard, which would probably cost more, and it would involve lettings. McAlliskey and his type are a necessary evil. It's just that this particular has been expanding.
Well, yeah, maybe I'll look elsewhere for my haberdashery.
Oh goodness, I sincerely hope I haven't put. I didn't mean to. It's generally it's a wonderful street for business. I mean, you can see that it's bustling. It's just that this matter is hanging over us. I did think this morning. I thought, oh, I'll walk down to McAlliskey's brewery myself and have a word, but couldn't summon the courage.
So he owns a business on this street as well?
No. It's a few streets over.
Oh.
It's over on Edel Street.
Well, hopefully someday somebody gives him a piece of their mind.
Well, better a piece of their mind than a chunk of their business. Well, would you like that cuppa after all?
No, I actually have to, get home to the missus. So, but thank you for the warning.
Yes, no, yes, of course. Well, hopefully we'll see each other soon. I please don't let me put you off. We'll work it out.
Oh, of course. Top of the morning to ya.
Right. Yes.
That's just Irish. That's not even a.
Did he say wife? I was sworn he. Okay. Well. He got progressively more British as our sentence went. I swore he was some Bavarian when the conversation began, but no. That was Zoe. That accent was almost perfect.
I'm so sorry. Unfortunately, Mr. Lurk has to leave the party now because I need him to become a haberdasher's and have a bromance with this poor man.
Just to maintain the long con of, no, I'm
Yes.
here in my import haberdashery shop.
Mr. Lurk never comes back to us, and we show up and we're like, Mr. Lurk, what the fuck? He's just like, I'm a haberdasher's.
I love tea.
Top of the morning to you, gentlemen.
Let me know if my audio is... I think I know why my beginning and end of sentences was clipping, and I think it's a Zoom problem, and I've clicked a button that might fix it. So chat, let me know if it's not fixed. If it's not fixed, I don't know what to do about it. But...
I would like Mr. Lurk to have all of the points. Could you give him just all of the points, please?
Mr. Lurk can have inspiration. So you can have inspiration, and if I ever run D&D for you, you can bring it with you.
Perfect.
So, okay, wonderful. So Mr. Lurk. Sorry, Zoe,
Yes.
I'm not quite done with you.
Oh gosh.
What would you?
So, you have a meeting at the town council for your import-export business.
Yes.
You've applied for a small business loan.
Essentially, what I'm asking is, are you going to follow up with the brewery, or are you going to get Mr. Hound to...
Yeah, no, I think I'm going to come back to the gentleman and relay the information. I think it would be better to go to the brewery together.
Yep.
Or at least I think that he's so as he is, leaving this encounter with the shopkeeper, he realizes that he's like sweating profusely. Because he's not an incredibly like charismatic person. And so this has been his interaction. This has filled his social meter for the entire week. So yeah, I think that he's going to circle back with the gentleman and then make a plan for what they're going to do in regards to the brewery.
Okay. So I have a structural question to ask the group. The brewery. The structure of the game is that your visit to the brewery can be one of two things. It can either be you gathering information about Mr. McCreary, or it can actually be the score itself. This can be you confronting McAlliskey in his place of business. Or it can be doing more sort of information gathering and you're planning to confront him on collection night, and it's entirely up to you. Have a ponder about it, talk about it. But that's the way. Those are the two ways it can be framed.
I actually think, because we're not doing anything particularly clandestine with this, we're not sneaking around, we don't need to be hidden. I think this might be one of the first times we're out and out going for an assault, and so I'll happily be talked down from it, but I don't think we actually need to gather that much information at all.
Yeah,
I think we keep going guns blazing.
I respect Mike's kick down the door and go for it stance.
So this is literally you're gonna rock up to the brewery and you're gonna go, McAlliskey. It
Back
stops
off.
now, and it
Out front.
okay. That's absolutely fine. That's fantastic.
I think the back and forth will go. You know, the two halves of the party being the let's go with our guns and our pointing, and the let's sit at a desk and read a book meet. And Mr. Hound goes, "We're going to go in," and Mr. Spider's face will be something like, "Mm-hmm. What do you mean I don't have a week to get the files on the building and plan a thoroughly reasonable sort of approach?" And then they compromise on, well, we're going in tonight and it's fine. But like Mr. Spider hates this, but it's the right thing to do.
Okay. Okay, fine.
Listen, if we don't go in tonight, he's going to go back and break that man's fingers.
You know,
Oh, I thought he was going to cut them off.
Oh, cut them off or whatever.
I mean,
we gotta
neither is
protect
good,
this
but one is
stranger's
worse.
fingers.
I wonder what job he does that he doesn't need his fingers, but he does need his legs. I don't know.
He...
Pedals.
Oh, he makes wine. He tramples grapes for wine,
go.
obviously. That's
And that's how he recognized the Bavarian influence
One
because
of-
he's French.
one of Camden's famous vineyards.
Yes.
Yeah, I think once the wine is stamped, there is no need for hands.
I
think,
mean,
yeah, it's,
Hands are pretty useful. Like we
Nah.
Yeah, but
have a whole word about how having them is useful to getting on. Things are handy for a reason. Like, you know.
Well, they'll just have to be
things,
footy for
things
him.
are rarely footy.
Things are very rarely footy.
Things are getting a bit feety over here.
That's
Yikes.
worse somehow. I don't know why, but that is
Yeah.
measurably worse. So once the wine is done, there is no need for hands. That's now the slogan of the whole campaign. Okay, fantastic. So it's go to McAlliskey's Brewery, bash in the door,
Wreck
And-
shit.
and basically get him in a position where he's not able to not listen to you when you make your
Yes.
demands. Okay, so this is for the information of the audience. What the strangers are doing is they are staking a claim to this this gang's turf. So yeah, your goal is basically to persuade him it's not worth his trouble coming back ever again. You'll be doing the collection. It's up to you to decide whether you actually do collections, but you'll be doing that. So, wow, this must be the fastest transition to an engagement role that I think we've ever done.
You're
Um,
welcome.
But we're doing it. Well, look, no, I love it. I think it's fantastic. So, let me get up the old engagement role. I think it's safe to say that this is a bold and daring plan. So you get 1 die for showing up. You get 1 because it's a bold and daring plan. You are going directly into McAlliskey's gang stronghold, so I think this counts as him having a resistance to this plan. So that's back down to 1 die. None of your contacts or allies have helped you give you any. Why are you doing an outraged face?
Sergeant Walker
Sergeant Walker didn't give you information like, yeah, McAlliskey's left knee is boned.
told us he was a wrong'un.
Giving you the score doesn't count as giving you a special insight
Yeah,
into the
and
score.
warned us that he was a wrong'un.
Oi, this vampire exists. My god, now we know. Let's go. Okay, fine. It'd be really wild if, after not playing the game for months and months and months, I put you up against a vampire. That would be wild for all of us.
Just take
So-
some massive sticks.
Just big old sticks. So I think that's 1 engagement die. Let me, have I missed any? You're the same tier target as McAlliskey on his own, I think, so there's no penalties there. Okay, yeah, fine. Let's do this. Click boom. What did I roll? Oh no. God. Okay, so I rolled a 3. That is not good for your engagement. For context to the crowd, the first score I did with this particular configurement of Gentleman Strange, I think I rolled a critical on the engagement roll. And like it just went as amazingly as it could possibly go while they broke and entered into the house of 2 harmless old women to steal a musical instrument. This is a very different score to that. Okay, so a 3. This is not good. So I think what has happened here is you've gone to the brewery, and there's the I think, I mean, I'm not going to put words in your mouth, but my suspicion is that you'd try to go in around the back rather than the public entrance. But tell
Yeah.
me if that's wrong. I don't mind that being.
No, I think round the back, because there's a point, the moment where we're looking for points of egress, are like we need to be into the building anyway, and that's where it's kind of been swiped away as we're not doing this clandestine. We're just going to find a door, kick it in, cause a fuss.
You're not trying to be clandestine, but you definitely don't want an innocent bystander summoning a Bobby.
No, no.
So discreet but not clandestine. So in you go, and you got a 3. So what happens is, as you bash in, I don't know who does the door bashing in, but you get the door bashed in, or it doesn't need bashing in. Maybe they're loading up a cart with barrels. As you go in, you're pretty sure you haven't been seen until someone goes, "Oi, the fuck are you then?" And you turn around and there's like 3 guys. You haven't made it in yet. And you are challenged. What the fuck are you doing here? Fucks with him, he says, pointing at Mr. Leech.
Well, I heard there was a fucking plague problem. You got rats.
Fucking dishonored, mate. Go on, fuck off. We don't need you around here. One of them grabs a length of chain. Come on, no silly buggers.
The only silly buggers around here are gonna be you. And I'm just gonna stand in front and do my best, like, intimidating pose.
Well, I can't not let you make a roll on that, really, can I? So it seems like you're what are you trying to do? You're trying to get them to back off?
Yeah.
Okay, so it could be command or sway. It's up to you, although you do have a die in command.
Yeah, I'm thinking command.
Can I help?
So what oh no. I've just quit the Roll20. What is this? I don't think this has yet gotten to the point where it's. I think it's still just risky. Risky reduced effect.
I'm gonna help.
Okay.
Does that change what I do, or does that mean that he does something in addition?
If you're both trying to if you're both joining in on the posturing, then what it means is you're doing a you can assist. So Mike spends a single stress, and it gives you either your choice of a bonus die or increased effect.
My help will be not from Hound himself, but from Burke, who will start growling viciously from behind the group.
Hell Perfect. Yeah.
So yeah, Zoe, it's your choice of a bonus die or increased.
I don't know which
is. It's a difficult choice to make with one die, I always think.
Okay, so are they afraid of dogs? Like, how intimidating is this?
I mean, the right dog.
I mean,
that's true.
Burke is a pretty intimidating dog. He definitely has the attitude of one whistle from Mr. Hound and this dog will go for your leg. This is not just a threat.
Then I'm gonna do increased effect.
So go back up to normal effect.
Standard or
standard effect.
Standard effect.
Risky standard.
Okay, risky, standard, bonus dice none.
A 5. A success with a cost. That's fine. That's fantastic. So I think that what you managed to achieve is they've decided, because of Burke's growling and because of how well Mr. Lurk has stood his ground, that maybe the 3 of them versus the 4 of you, their element of surprise isn't quite as strong an advantage as it might have been. So they back off a little bit, but one of them it's a good just okay. So the the three of them that have been threatening you back, the guy sort of picked up a length of change, kind of lowers it down. He doesn't put it down, but he relaxes his arm by his side. And he goes, right, you want? And one of them sidles over to where there's a post with a bell, and you can see he's ready to ring it.
Oh gosh, what do we want? Do we just want to go like straight to we'd like to see your leader?
Consider it an appointment.
That's good.
Right, he's in, and who's after him? Who are you?
Oh. There's no reason to not, right? There's no reason not to drop our name.
In fact, since you're claiming his turf, I think you more or less.
I think what'll happen is Mr. Spider.
No. Yes, I know what you're going to do. Yes,
Mr. Spider will flick a wrist and produce one of our business cards, and we'll say, "Consider this an introduction from the gentlemen strangers."
Oh yes!
Yes!
Oh, so smooth. Love that. That's fantastic. He nods over. I'll go give this to him.
Thank you.
Few awkward minutes of silence pass.
Mr. Spider lights a cigarette and just stands there like,
going, that
Yeah.
was very smooth. I'm very smooth. And the man that Mr. Lurk recognizes, McAlliskey, steps out. He's got 6 guys with him. He knows exactly who he's lieutenant. He just looks at you baffled. Can I help you?
You're doing these people dirty, and you know it.
What people?
All these good business people.
Oh, you here for King Street?
Are you running this somewhere else too?
We'll take a list.
What's it to you?
You're causing problems where there shouldn't be any. You could have kept the rates low, but you didn't.
Most importantly, Mr. McAlliskey, you are causing problems on our turf.
There's not a cobblestone part of the city turf.
Then it seems we are at an impasse.
This round here is Mr. McCreary's turf. He's entrusted a portion of it. And I know you don't want to go making it. Or do you? Is this a move? Sean? I think we can go ahead. Hey? You boys want to come in for a drink or something? It seems to me that Ronan McAlliskey and the gentlemen strangers have got themselves what you might call a common enemy.
Indeed.
Break out the good stuff, please. Come on. Can you drink through that thing? He says, pointing at Mr. I neither eat nor drink. Mr. Leech requires no sustenance.
I just turn my head and stare.
So Mr. Leech to me sounds like Ash, but in the Kylo Ren suit. Just like, I'm very menacing.
I don't drink. bastard.
Get fucked. I'm not interested.
Problem is, you
Bastard
say
twat.
you say it in the Kylo Ren suit, but I know how tall Ash is, so I'm imagining just like the robes, the sleeves, like.
Oh, you're actually imagining the dark helmet equivalent of Kylo Ren then. Perfect. That's a vintage reference for the boys and girls in the audience. Okay, so yeah, he leads you into the brewery, a bakingly hot room. And very loud as well, and the air is positively viscous with the fumes being given off by the vat.
All of the gentlemen strangers briefly become teetotalers.
Mr. Leech, of course. I don't know how. Mr. Leech. So you've got this beaked mask. Do you
Yes.
actually fill it with dried herbs as well? Like, is it? I mean, London's reeks. Like,
Yeah.
so you're probably okay. I like you're used to breathing stuffy air anyway because it's a leather mask and it's sewn up. But at least you've got various herbs and so on in. So it's not the worst thing in the world. He leads you past through the brewery, and the guys who came out with him, disperse until it's really just him and the four of you, which is a pretty big display of bravado since he's now outnumbered himself 4-1. I don't really have enough chairs for you to take a seat, but make yourselves comfortable. Feel free to lean. I'm going to sit in my bloody office. Right. So, you're not really after me, are you? You're after one of two things, my guess is. You're either after King Street or McCreary, or both.
Porque no los dos.
Right.
Beg your pardon, Mr. Lurk.
He said,
Both.
why not both?
Oh.
Speak Spanish. That's interesting.
That is interesting. Write that
All
down.
Catholics speak all Catholic languages.
Spanish is a Catholic language.
It is-
your
it
Latin,
is-
your
it
Latin
is
must be
known.
impeccable. Then we're speaking candidly with one another.
I think we've come to that.
In the short term, our interest is in King Street. It is in the balance of how things operate in Camden. The fact is that your current business practices were noisy enough that they were brought to our attention. That means something isn't working.
Well, that might be your point of view. From my point of view, it's working perfectly.
Yes, I'm quite sure. In the long term, our interest is in McCreary, but we're in no rush.
I want to be absolutely clear about it. McCreary's a cunt. And he needs to go. But his organization is not for you to pick up. If anything happens to McCreary, I'm what you might call heir apparent. And I intend to keep it that way. And I intend to have a good working relationship with our allies and retainers, the gentlemen. If that's an arrangement you think that you'd be comfortable with, keep talking. If not, there's about 20 men out there you're going to have to fight your way through.
So, in this scene, it's obvious, especially to Mr. Hound, that Mr. Spider has been trying his level best to channel Mr. Slide. Because we don't have Mr. Slide anymore, and that and we don't have him anymore, and he was really useful at this. Like, a couple of times Mr. Spider's let Mr. Hound and Mr. Lurk do the talking, when normally we'd just be standing there silently letting Slide do the talking. And Mr. Spider's trying really hard to bring about an air of slidishness. But throughout the course of this previous few back and forths between him and McAlliskey, Mr. Spider's eyes have almost sort of middle distanced, and it's very apparent that he's suddenly like putting together several pieces and reverting back to his gently neuroatypical ways as he's trying to both be charming and talk and think, and he's giving up on the talking for the thinking part, because his response to that, which seems like a non sequitur, will be to go, heir apparent to everything.
Well, I don't get his wife and kids.
No.
How sure are you on this?
On what it is you believe you stand to inherit.
All of his crews, territory.
His crews, his territory, his contacts, his money, his financials.
Whatever he's got stuffed under the mattress, certainly. I'm sure he's a richer man than I know.
So you don't know everything.
Why are you talking like this?
It's interesting for a man who talks as if he is so well acquainted with McCreary's businesses.
Look, McCreary's a creep.
Yes.
He consorts with... I almost laugh out loud to say the word. Consorts with magicians. That's no honest way of doing business.
No, indeed.
I'm not interested in whatever shadowy connections he has, with all due respect. If you're useful to us, we'll keep working together. But I'm not interested in all this eldritch nonsense, alchemy.
No. But the thing I have often found, Mr. McAlliskey, about eldritch nonsense is it is like an infestation of woodworm. There is only so much you can do if it is already in the timbers.
But don't you worry about infestation. We've got plenty of turpentine.
Hmm.
What you need to worry about right now, King Street.
Yes.
You want it?
Yes.
Perfect. But are you aware of the concept of appearance? Assume from your eccentric, have a theatrical bent. The five of us need to put on a show for the people of King Street. We need to put on a show for... I can't give you King Street. You're going to have to take it from. Which, for the record, I have every intention of doing, but there has to be some blood on the cobblestone for the night.
What do you suggest?
Well, what I suggest, sir,
Mr. Spider.
Spider, is there's no way you're getting King Street without making an enemy. Seamus. I'm not saying it's a declaration of war, but it's definitely the initiation of hostility. And once that's begun, you understand that I'm his sworn man. Until I'm... So, I make my collections. A couple of hours, actually. 7:30. I'll go from one end to the other. But I'm feeling cocky. And I'm only going to bring 2 men. After all, it's just a bunch of shopkeepers. May I assume that me and 2 of my best blokes...
Mr. Spider does the glance at Mr. Hound and the glance at Mr. Lurk.
Hound he's nodding in that kind of builder appraisal way of... But even before, when violence was discussed about, there's no situation that Hound doesn't think he can win in. So he's just kind of nodding.
Mr. Hound was already thinking when McAlliskey said, "Oh, you're gonna have to take it." Mr. Hound's like, "I'll shoot you in the kneecaps right now if you need."
Now, rules of engagement. My boys don't carry anything that'll... Well, that's not... anything will kill. But my boys don't carry anything sharp. They don't carry anything with powder in it. You on the level?
Mr. Hound will likely carry his weapons, as without them it would definitely look suspicious, but he will not shoot them.
If you want to discharge a shot with nothing in it for the sake of scaring us, fine. If you want to break a couple of toes, you want to give me a broken arm. In fact, I wouldn't mind getting my nose reset a few times. Gives me a more believable story when I get back. There's no need for anyone to lose their lives over turf.
Absolutely not.
On the other hand, if one of my boys draws a weapon that you're not comfortable with, put that bastard in his grave. Make any difference to me? I won't be bringing my most loyal men.
A little bit of pruning for you.
I don't want any bloodshed, and I think you'll find it harder to manage the street since I've been holding on to this turf for 2 years and no one's died. Would be a terrible first impression if you're planning to take. But that's up for you to manage.
And the civilians are off the table.
Confront me in the open street. Fuck off, right? You're their heroes. You're here to swoop down and stop us. Then it's up to you how to manage them. Squeeze them for every penny or make it a matter of honor. All that matters is that I lose the street. Brewery loses.
What do you want in the long term, Mr. McAlliskey?
I'll do everything.
Mm-hmm.
I'm setting something up. Maybe I'll come to you later and you can take the shot I've lined up. I can reap all the rewards. But that's a conversation for another time.
Were you the one raising the prices? Or was that McCreary's and you were just doing his bidding?
That was all me.
Hmm.
I needed to become suddenly unreasonable, unpredictable.
You were hoping that we'd come.
I was hoping for someone. Still do. Do you know what would be really good? Wait until I'm halfway done. You wait until I'm halfway done and you can rob me into the bargain. Give those whinging shopkeepers back their night's take. I'll love you for that.
Where's halfway for you?
Chubbs. Hairdresser.
Chubbs it is.
So, anything else? Any other questions? Are we all sorted? It'll be quite fun.
I have a feeling, given that, as you said, there are 20 men outside, this meeting ought to have perhaps not gone as well as it did.
Want to leave in a storm of
You should throw us out.
frustration and fury.
You should throw us out, Mr. McAlliskey. It will do best for us both.
No other business then?
You know where to find us should you wish to speak again.
That I don't think you remembered who I am and who I work for. And the next time I see you, you'd better come fucking armed. Or it'll be your blood on the fucking streets. Now get out of my sight.
I'm going to start making a fuss, like slamming my hands on the table, effing and blinding, pointing fingers. I want to give him a reason to like physically throw me out.
Mr. Spider rolls his eyes.
It's just like a tap the moment he starts. Like any excuse. Fuck you.
Burke just barking.
Well, Burke can't
Non-stop.
tell the difference between fake hostility and real hostility. As far as he's concerned, the guy's really having a go. So yeah, Burke's adding to the atmosphere. And yeah, you storm out in a hail of. He comes out to follow you, and because obviously all of his guys are like, are we? And he comes out and goes, we'll deal with them later. Yeah, you storm off.
All right.
Oof. I'm scared.
Yeah, I
That
mean,
went too well.
yeah. I guess this is such a bizarre store structure-wise. It makes no sense to me.
I love it.
But I think I didn't ask you what your loads were last time we went in, but that's okay. It turned out not to fight. This one is going to turn out to be a fight, so I guess I'll ask you. Yeah, just decide what your load's going to be. Remember, Ash and Zoe particularly, that because of a crew perk, you actually have 2 more loads than you think you do in each.
Cool.
You actually have 5 light, 7 normal, and 8 heavy. And yeah, I don't think I'm going to roll an engagement roll. Because, like, you've set this up. What could go wrong if you accidentally back into another street and another gang is making collections and you end up accidentally... It's an episode of Frasier and you end up beating up the wrong gang. And you end
Maybe.
up taking another episode of Territory. Niles!
So load is how many like items we can bring with us, basically.
Yes, but you don't have to pick the item.
Yeah. So
Is there like a perk to picking a light load?
Yeah. So
Okay.
yeah, basically the heavier the load that you pick, the more the bulkier you are. A heavy load, you are visibly armed.
Okay.
So you're much more likely, for example, to draw attention, to be stopped by law enforcement, etc. Light load, everything you're carrying is basically perfectly concealed. And at medium load, the normal load, you essentially look equipped, but not specifically heavily armed. But yeah, going in heavy, you basically look like you're a walking arm.
Is there a way to like have a light load but make it look like you've got more than like you have your weapon on display?
I mean, you can tell me that you're going light load, but then you specifically say, yeah, but I've brought a pistol, and then I've got the pistol handle sticking out of my pocket. You're absolutely welcome to do. And basically what happens is...
Remember, items and the items that we have is essentially retroactive. We don't need to decide on it now. We can decide on it in the fight.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you if you want to have a visible pistol, for example, because you want to be intimidating, mark off a pistol, and that's one of your loads taken up, and then you can use it for any purpose you can think of, including for intimidation. But you don't have to, as Mike says, you everything, and yeah, flashbacks are a huge thing, and one of the big ones is, what items did you... Fortunately, I happen to have my scythe.
As if I would leave home without the scythe. That's Mr. Spider's signature move.
I was trying to think what an unusual... Okay, well, I think that we'll take a short break then, since we're going into things fairly fresh. So what is it now? 25 to... So should we say 15 minutes? Come back at 10 to whatever hour it is, wherever it is you are in the world. Okay, gang, we will be back in 15 minutes. Arrivederci.
Those amorous desires.
So
are
the
most
debate
often
going on in the trash
symptoms.
crew at the moment, gang, is whether or not the Muppet Gonzo fancies chicken.
He does.
It does. Look, Gonzo's amorous desires are most often centered on
Sex.
chickens.
With chicken.
There we
He's a
go.
hen botherer.
The poultry passion first surfaced in episode 204 of The Muppet Show,
Picture
where he held auditions
of
of
Gonzo.
dancing chickens.
Having
Wait,
sex.
he was
Mike needs to
auditioning.
be put on a watch list at this point.
He was auditioning sexy chickens. That's not okay.
dancing
That's-
chickens.
That's some
dancing chickens.
Weinstein.
He's an alien Muppet. I don't know that there's like.
What?
Well, they're
Zoe,
not alien
that's some-
chickens.
Zoe, that's some cruel words. That's some
Actually,
unkind words.
They're
He's-
human
He's
chickens.
literally from space.
We're from space.
We're all
Bloody
from
hell.
space, Zoe. We're all in space. Zoe.
He has a long-standing romantic relationship with Camilla the chicken.
Camilla, yeah.
Well,
Oh.
I assume as a Muppet, Camilla's like a speaking person. Like I assume.
Anatomical.
No, she's
No.
a chicken.
What,
No,
It's
but I'm
like a
assuming
run.
she's a. But I'm assuming she can speak. Yeah, but I'm
Yeah,
assuming
she's
she
a
can
puppet.
speak.
I
He's
don't know.
not like-
No, I don't think
A
they do. I don't
Muppet.
think the chickens speak.
They're not puppets.
I don't think the chickens speak, from what I can remember.
This is very harrowing.
But here's the thing. This is I want to just say this is taking a step away from Zoe being all like, oh, he's a chicken
Yeah.
botherer. Gonzo fucks chickens. Like if he's in a stable, committed relationship with Camilla and it's all above board, then
Yeah.
he's not bothering anyone.
Is
I didn't
What?
say bothered. I didn't say he was a chicken botherer. I
you
just said
didn't.
he
That's-
fucks
The
chickens.
Muppets,
That's
the
easy
Muppet
to follow,
chickens
yeah, that's
usually
true.
communicate with squawks, although they are known to speak at times. So
Anniversaries, first dates,
death,
death.
Yeah, every chicken is entitled to last
unwanted
words.
advances.
All chickens, not just Muppet chickens. All chickens.
Yeah.
If you're there with-
Bowman, this is a harrowing swerve in the Gentleman Stranger story. I'm going to start a new clock, and it's called Luke Just Leave. Um,
Oh look, it's full. Goodbye, everyone.
it's a 6-segment clock with 6 segments in it. It's got 7 segments in it somehow. Right.
Just deleting my search
So-
history.
I'm sure I remember a
Oh,
bit
God.
of a Muppet song where some chickens are singing in the song.
Yeah, they do
Yeah,
a
I think
chorus
that-
line
yes,
thing.
it's
They-
Camilla
they-
and the chickens.
Yeah.
I
When
just
it,
looked at it.
what song is that?
Camilla and the chickens. Hang on.
No, it's
Yeah.
one of the main Muppet songs. It's not just a chicken song.
Oh no. According to the wiki, one of the chickens that he has danced with, is named Lolita. So that's good. That's great.
Oh, damn,
Ooh.
no.
That's-
Gonzo.
Where you go, I cannot Google.
Wow. My caution, Michael, any member of the trash fam, do not Google chicken Lolita.
Do
Do
not.
not.
A sobering revelation from Zoe there. Okay, so we're all changed forever.
I love that it started off Gonzo, chicken botherer. Then it gets to the point of being like, hey, you know what? Let him live his life. And then we were like, we're sorry to inform you, Gonzo is cancelled on twitter.gov.
Hashtag
Gonzo got
canceled.
milkshake ducked.
Milkshake chickened, actually.
Oh,
Oh,
no.
that's not what we're calling her
I
now.
don't know about that. Actually, I like it a lot. Okay, so let's get back to the much more straightforward task of extorting honest shopkeepers for money. Yeah, so do you deviate from the agreed upon plan?
I think we definitely need to have a brief conversation to entertain that.
Absolutely. Yeah, where do you go? Are you going to go back to Millennium Club or back to Aventine?
Probably Millennium Club, right? I mean, that's where like our stuff
That's
is
where all
like
your
in the.
stuff- where you're going to have
Yeah,
to
well-
kit up anyway. Yeah.
So we're having a little chat.
A brief
Millennium Club.
tete-a-tete.
Bonjour.
Por favor. Are we going to go through with this, or are we going to kill him?
I'm a little bit confused at this point.
So, to kind of recap, turns out this extortionist actually wants to make a play on McCreary and the whole situation. And so it is actually in his vested interest to lose this turf, as it puts him in a position where, in theory, he could have been lying to us and he could be about to make a play on us. I quite like the idea of anything that wounds McCreary in any caliber, be it psychological or physical. I want one day McCreary to walk into a room that I have set to explode and to see him blown to little pieces.
Then let's think. On one hand, McAlliskey is on the level, so to speak. This evening's adventures go off as planned. He returns to McCreary's side. Everything remains broadly the same. Some turf changes hands. And one day, McAlliskey makes a play, either relying on us or not. But he believes that we will owe him one, as the case may be. On the other hand, McAlliskey is lying. Tonight is some sort of set-up operation. Ignoring for a moment that if he'd wished for us to be dead, it would have happened at his establishment. That would mean that what he is intending is some sort of show, either to the people, unlikely, or to McCreary. More likely, there is every chance that he could have gone to McCreary to tell him that we will be there tonight and to bring heavies. Again, that is something that I believe could have easily been achieved by a black bag in his establishment when he had the upper hand. I believe, therefore, he has no intention of fighting us at this location beyond the theatric scrap that we intend to throw down, because it would do him no benefit to fight us out in public sincerely. It means I believe he is in good faith. What does... Sorry, do go on, Mr. Lurk.
I think that we need to really consider whether McAlliskey, that's his name, if he gets what he wants and he does eventually become the leader, outs McCreary, is there a possibility he could be worse?
Yeah.
Do we want to help facilitate him being in more of a position of power if he could be worse than McCreary is?
I don't think there is a future in London for either of them.
Whilst I believe your concerns are valid, Mr. Lurk, in this circumstance, I was quite struck by Mr. McAlliskey's flippant disregard for hocus pocus and the occult. Although I've never been one for fanciful superstitions, the facts before us are that certain matters of the occult are very real and very dangerous. Mr. McCreary accepts and recognizes this fact, which means that should McCreary come a cropper and McAlliskey finds himself in Mr. McCreary's shoes, I do not imagine he will fare particularly well. I imagine he will find himself holding a particularly hot sort of potato with no way of putting it down, something he is not prepared for. But Mr. Hound is also correct. Swapping one for the other is not our end goal, which means what we are looking for is a little bit of manageable chaos. In chess, you set up the board, and if you are playing to win, then you should be playing to force your opponent to have to keep moving, not allowing them to set up their own gambits and plays.
Which all boils down to, we play it as it's been given to us. No funny business unless there's funny business from their side.
Nevertheless, although this will equate to a certain amount of conflict, both literal and metaphysical, if we play this correctly, we will step out from McCreary's shadow, where we have been so far. He will not take this well, but we wish to avoid an all-out war. Which means, I believe, should tonight go according to plan, send McCreary a peace offering.
I don't know what that would be, but I'm happy to defer to your insight on that.
I'll put my mind to it.
We could always, one of the things, if this does go down the way that we're hoping that it does, we have access to this street, and we can continue asking the folks here to pay their dues back down at the lower price, of course. And we could always, cut him in if that would be a peace offering.
The trouble is going to come in that once we have command of King Street, we will be responsible for its protection.
I can handle that.
Of course, for a time, but we all have our obligations that we must attend to. So we will have to think about the money that comes in very carefully. But that is a matter perhaps for once we're done. Are we going into tonight with the intention to trust, to an extent, Ronan McAlliskey? Mr. Leech, you've been awfully quiet.
I don't like trusting any of these guys. They do as they say they will. But I think a guy who doesn't understand the occult and the metaphysical, once he gets to that position, he's going to have a tough time, and that's easier to take out. I think we go in and we trust, we put on a show, and we make a peace offering.
Remember, our ways are mysterious, our ways are enigmatic, but we are the gentlemen, strangers. We've entered into an agreement in good faith, and until it looks as though we are to be double-crossed, we enter into that in the spirit that we believe it has been intended. But of course, we will be prepared should the unforeseen happen. And I think, sorry, you go ahead.
Would it be too much to maybe capture Ronan and then for a peace offering offer him back unharmed? Well,
I personally feel like that's not a great idea.
it's a thought.
Certainly. given what I just said about honor, feel like that would be cutting up our nose to spite our face.
I like your thinking. I don't think it's applicable to this exact situation, but will doubtlessly be applicable to further situations.
Belay the plans on that dungeon just now, Mr. Leech.
However, if in the midst of this fight, I tap my nose like this, we've been betrayed and we should capture him.
Got a few drugs that'll knock him out.
Great. What a incredible. Yep. Comforting. You're a comforting presence.
I mean, you actually do have an interrogation chamber on your claims map.
Oh, yeah. We're getting there. We're getting there. Also, Mr. Hound, we should leave the dog behind.
Right.
Oh yeah, if Burke senses violence is going down, he's not in on the agreement.
He's biting legs. He's
not skin breaking.
Taking off arms.
The dog's like, Marcus, of what rules? I don't care.
But he's freeload. He doesn't. I might as well have him.
Well, he can freeload at home.
Yes.
Bring him in a cage, and then he just, if he's in a cage, then
return him to his
bark.
Pokeball and put it in your pocket.
Yeah, he can bark, but then he can't get out to attack.
Okay, so you're going to proceed with the plan, unless and until it becomes clear that McAlliskey pulled a fast one.
When luckily, I have a feeling we're in the sort of game where should McAlliskey pull a fast one, then we can have planned for it all along.
You can absolutely plan for it all along. Absolutely. Flashbacks will be employed in that circumstance. So, on you go at the appointed hour, and collection seems to be a pretty quiet affair. Like, it's not like they're rattling pot hands going. But there aren't that many people out at the moment, and you can see, indeed, you can see three people, one of whom has the full silhouette of Ronan McAlliskey. And you're, what are you doing? I mean, are you waiting for him outside the hairdressers? You know, you're looking tough, like you're here to put on a show of these people are under our protection. How do you put on that?
I have this vision of like we're in the shadows, and then as he comes like down the road, we like come out to the come out from the shadows, and it's like
I'm like flank him. Love it.
Absolutely.
I especially think that works because Mr. Leech is like, I want to be involved, but I don't really wish to throw hands. But that means Mr. Leech is perfect as the third guy who comes out at the back, and they're like, "Whoa, we definitely are surrounded by these two tough guys and that
person in a scary mask
and that strange little boy."
Okay, I love it. So you come out and McAlliskey and his two guys act, they don't go, but obviously they're acting quizzical. You're not sure, of course, the extent to which the two men flanking him are in on the plan. Who knows? But the show proceeds. McAlliskey says, "Get out of our way. I already told you."
No, I don't think we will do that, Mr. McAlliskey.
Don't want to do this, gentlemen.
Oh, I think we and the people of this street have had quite enough of being told what it is we'd like to do.
By now, the shops that haven't been visited yet, and some of the ones that have started, the owners have started craning what's going on. And McAlliskey notices the people of King Street know what their debts are. They know to pay them. Get out of my way. Mr. McCreary.
You see, Mr. McAlliskey, the problem with treating your woodworm with turpentine as it does make your house exceedingly flammable. And Mr. Spider's going to draw his because he's been stood like chattily. He's going to do his favorite trick of standing at an easy stance and drawing his wrist pistol in a aggressive fashion.
I will take this opportunity to try and cudgel one of them.
All right, boys, fuck 'em. And then fucking begins.
Rude.
So
Hell yeah.
you said you want to try to cudgel one of them, Mr. Hound.
Yeah, mostly because I think a lot of this is going to turn to wreck very quickly, which I'm not skilled at. But if I can get one prowl roll off for a cudgeling, to ambush with close violence, a backstab, throat cutting, cooking, different.
Don't cut his throat.
I'm going to cook your whole throat.
Hound. Abort.
I'm going to do to your throat what Gonzo did to that poultry farm.
Oh no.
Mr. Spider wants to join Mr. McAlliskey, please. But no, I think the intention has been this whole time that Mr. Spider is doing the talking and the showboating and channeling his best Christopher Wick so that Mr. Lurk and Mr. Hound can be like, oh, fuck it, we're going to jump in.
It's a good case for a prowl. Like, they're not ready to go. You've clearly seized the initiative. Yeah, I think that's a great case. With what, the butt of your pistol or a cost?
Yeah. I like the butt of a pistol. I might as well show them that I've got a gun.
Oh, absolutely.
Risky position?
Yeah, you're in risky position. Standard effects.
Whoop.
Oh, a
2 and
6. Fantastic. Okay, I think this is a loud crack. This is... I mean, I assume you're not trying to actually brain the guy, right? So this is what, the jaw you're going for, trying to loosen a few teeth.
Yeah.
A bit of street dentistry.
A nice bellow of fuck McCreary too, just so the people around know whose side we're on. And for no other reason. No personal vendetta.
And also, 'twas acting.
Yeah, okay, so this guy he falls to the floor, clutching his jaw. And like he's not even making any sound yet because the pain is so much that he's still processing. He is functionally out of. Yeah, he can't return. You rolled a 6, so it's up to one of you folks. Mr. Spider, you drew your pistol in and do something with it?
Yes. Since Mr. Spider apparently squared off against McAlliskey, I think he was waiting for the two very scary people with big sticks to be taken care of before he really engaged in the combat, because he might get hit in the face, and that's bad.
Yeah, I will
I defer to the lurking one.
So the other goon, I would like to what would be good? I think that I want to do like the thing in action movies where you like take somebody's arm and like twist it to like not like break it, but hold him in a position where if he moves, I could just break his arm if he like. So just kind of hold him in that kind of position.
Fantastic. I could hear a case for this being a prowl as well, just on the basis that, again, this is in that first second where they're not ready. Yeah, I think you can prowl that.
Hell yeah. All right. Risky standard.
Yep. Oh, no! Oh, no, that's a critical hit!
Yes.
That's fantastic. Okay, so...
My timing is immaculate. I feel powerful.
Critical. I mean, okay, so you lunge at the guy. He's so unready that he's knocked off balance. You get his arm twisted around. You hear a crack. You've popped his shoulder.
Hell
he's
yeah.
not getting the use of that for a bit, and it's throwing him off balance. And you're in full action hero mode at this point, and he's off balance. There's some momentum that's definitely under your control, and McAlliskey's right there. So I think what ends up happening is you lunge forward, grabbing his arm, you bring it back round with you, popping it out of its shoulder. He's thrown off balance, and while he doesn't have control of his weight, you use it to shove him into McAlliskey.
Hell yeah.
And this guy sort of McAlliskey roughly pushes this guy off, and he lands on the floor, whining with pain. But it's pushed McAlliskey. The effort of doing that has shoved his back against a wall. So McAlliskey is not in a position to respond in melee.
Rad. All right. I guess it's now up to Mr. Spider.
It's true. I'm just having a look at my list. So I have a proposition for you.
Uh-huh.
The proposition being that although Mr. Spider really does abhor violence and he's not very good at it, McAlliskey firmly requested that he be a little bit roughed up.
Yeah.
Which is giving Mr. Spider a bit more preparation into the matter. McAlliskey gets shoved, and I think Mr. Spider is going to flick his hand back up to retract his pistol, because he really does not want to shoot anyone. It was there because it's his scary opening play, because no one likes to suddenly have a gun in their face. Plus, because I've always imagined that because of the sliding mechanism and the gun that he holds kind of basically here, and the obvious gloves that he has to wear, being as he is a gentleman stranger, means that he basically has a bit of a mean southpaw hook when he wishes to. And so I should like, therefore, he thinks he's going to get shot, or that a gun is going to go off in an intimidating fashion, because we discussed that. We discussed the idea of a shot happening, and he's kind of gearing up for that, and things are happening. And Mr. Spider doesn't look like the sort of person who would literally just full on sucker punch you in the nose. But I feel like, given the circumstances, it is called for. Excellent. Therefore, I should like to I should like to call for this to be a skirmish, if only because what Mr. Spider is attempting to do is just sort of help him down. Like, he is aware that he's not big and strong. So what he's actually trying to do is, like, help him down, make it, because he's going to oof to the ground, so make it look like it's a bigger blow than it was, and use his knowledge of, like, the fact that he knows that if he hits a nose, it's going to blossom into blood, and it's going to look like he hit him harder than he did, even though it's not what he's about.
You're actually going for a discombobulator. So this is going to be if this is a skirmish, that's fine. This is going to be at controlled position, because, as I said, he's had the initiative knocked out of him. Obviously, if you roll low enough, he will counterattack, but he's in controlled positions. That's much.
I should care to, I believe, take stress. Remind me what that does.
You want to push yourself?
Yeah.
Yep. You want to push yourself for an extra die or for increased effect?
I think an extra die is where I'm about, because this is all very quick, and also Mr. Spider is punching, and he's not a punchy dude. Cutter would be so proud. She taught him how to. So skirmish. Take me toward.
You actually have, before you do any of this, you have a special ability that might apply in this situation, given what you have described to me. You have taken the ability Rook's Gambit.
Yeah, so do you think I kind of, because the thing is, I didn't know whether I could call study on that.
I think, given that Rook's Gambit specifically gives you more flexibility with the actions, and you did describe this as, looking at his position and knowing my strength, I'm going to give the optimal hit.
See, I thought that, but I thought it would be too cheeky.
No, that is what Rook's Gambit is for, is being a bit cheekier with the action rules.
Then yeah, I should care very much to use Rook's Gambit to, instead of skirmish, use study, because I have been Sherlock Holmes in this situation. I've been paying attention to where best to hit him. He's on his way down, and I'm
Do
adapting.
you still want to add a die with stress, or can I offer
Yeah,
you
I
a
do.
devil's bargain?
What would the devil's bargain be, per se? Perchance.
The devil's bargain will be he
Perchance.
definitely gets a counter hit.
And that'll give me another die.
That will give you one more die.
Ah, you know what? I'm going to do it.
It's that or two stress.
No, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I think that sounds great.
Take your bonus die.
Okay, so
Control position, standard effect, 3 dice.
I think I'm clicking it, but it doesn't seem to want to click it. I'm logged in.
Okay, I'll do it for you.
No, I can do it. I'm an adult. I have powers.
I've never questioned.
Don't
there we
hold
go.
my hand in this.
I've got it. Don't help me. I'm too proud. So it's controlled.
Controlled, standard, bonus die.
Standard. Bonus. Uno. Oh,
And that's a 6.
she's only
Okay.
bloody gone and done it.
Okay, so a 6. So
I
yeah,
actually think Mr. Spider, the reason why the devil's bargain plays off is because he delivers the blow. It's really good. He's actually a little surprised.
So you get the hit off, satisfyingly crunching his nose as requested, and as I said, he makes a counter attack. Given that it's controlled and you rolled a 6, you have to receive a counter attack as part of the devil's bargain, but I don't think it's going to do you harm. I think, however, as a matter of reflexes, he reaches out to grab your arm and it fucks up the spring in your wrist gun launcher, so you're going to have to get that repaired. You can resist this consequence as with any consequence.
No, because I know I'll roll badly and then suddenly it'll
And
turn
then
out, oh, the
ironically, you'll
spring's got in
spend
your
6
ear.
Yeah, you don't want it. Yeah, you have a busted gun spring. I don't know what it's called.
My gun spring. I
Um,
need that.
I'm gonna add you a clock for gun spring, so someone can tinker that for you in as a downtime act. But yeah, essentially, he's going to feign that it was he's taking the cue. He knows what's going on. He's going to feign that it's a tougher injury than it was, and also there is now really just him because one of his guys is probably concussed and the other one can't use his arm. So, he's going to put on the whole get up to those two. Get up. You haven't heard the last of it. And he's going to make a big show of holding onto his nose, and you actually hear him up close. You hear him deliberately breathing out of his nose to get more blood to come out, so it looks worse than it is as he goes down the street. Look, say what you like about him, he's a badass.
Given that I think he's forgotten something, Mr. Spider will step up and say, McAlliskey,
What?
I believe there is something owed to us.
Yeah, and I can imagine you all leveling your various weapons at him. Like, Mr. Hound smoothly turns his pistol around with one movement from a club into a gun.
Mr.
And then,
Leech
like, second
folds his
gun.
arms.
Third gun.
The dog.
McAlliskey tosses a wallet down, and then just hobbles off with. And a couple of the shopkeepers started gossiping. And out of the shop comes it's the chap that Mr. Lurk was talking to earlier, Mr. Montgomery Chubb of Chubb's Uppercuts.
Haircuts for everyone.
I'm going to ask a question, Zoe. Earlier on, when you were talking to him, were you just as you unmasked? I'm asking because there's a convention where they simply won't recognize you if you're.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that I was trying to look like a normal,
Yeah.
Londoner.
Yeah.
In my, duster, which I'm sure all Londoners wear cowboy
yeah.
dusters.
And it's a
Um,
masquerade night or not.
Yeah. So yeah, he is going to wear his, I mean, he's wearing his full,
Yeah.
gentleman.
He doesn't
get up.
recognize you then. He's not going to ask you awkward haberdashery questions.
I think though I want to take the wallet and take a little bit out, and just not a ton, just enough, and just kind of silently hand it to him. And if it seems like he's kind of looking at me with a question of like, do I know this person? Have I seen this person before? If he has any semblance of maybe recognizing me, I just want to wink and then walk away.
Absolutely, why not? Okay, so rifling through the rest of the wallet, you see that there's an amount equal to 5 coin, which is a hefty sum of money.
Yes.
Now you have Mr. Chubb's room. Oh, goodness, that's very generous. Thank you very much. Do I take it I no longer owe Mr. McCreary anything?
You don't have to worry about him anymore.
Ah, and you, your charming outfit, you're taking over management.
Is there a box nearby? Is there a fruit box or something?
Of course. A literal soap box.
A box of soap. I take it. Free soap.
Idiots! Now we're clean.
Now we got away clean.
Before you do this, to help you frame what Mr. Spider says, I'm essentially boiling down what happens now to two paths. There are 2 choices to make as to what you do now. You can either
steal all the soap, we eat the people.
Yeah. You can either take over the protection racket altogether. If you do so, every downtime, 1 coin will appear in the Gentleman Stranger's crew account every time. That'll just happen. You will gain the brutal reputation, and obviously McCreary will be deeply pleased. You can reject the protection money and simply take King Street under your protection, at which point you will immediately gain a substantial amount of reputation. McCreary will be somewhat less angry. You will gain the honourable reputation, and other things may happen.
Very well. Mr. Spider pulls his sleeve down, pulls his glove down over the edge of his gun so it doesn't embarrass him when he's trying to talk to a group of people. He puts a hand on Mr. Lurk's shoulder and boosts himself up onto a box, because Mr. Lurk is very tall, and that's important. And Mr. Spider will look as if to address Mr. Chubb, but will be addressing the assembled business folk. Gentles, hello. This street is no longer beholden to McCreary and his thugs. From this day forth, King Street is under the protection of the Gentlemen's Strangers. A card is proffered to Mr. Chubb, who we've decided is the head of the business association of the area, because everyone's going to get haircuts. As far as we are concerned, the safety of the businesses here are important to us. It may well be that in the course of our businesses, we require assistance of those of you here. But as far as we are concerned, you owe us not a penny of protection money. Congratulations, you have earned protection by dint of simply being business owners of this street. We will see this area flourish once more. As I said, we are the gentlemen strangers. Should you need us for anything, leave messages care of the Aventine.
Yeah, there's a general round of applause and back patting. So, fallout of the you will immediately gain 4 reputation points.
Do you need me to track the?
I'm tracking it as we speak.
If you're tracking it, what as we're doing Fallout and stuff, we gain reputation. That's great. Mr. Lurk gave some money back to Mr. Chubb. All great. The wallet has then gone firmly into Mr. Spider's pockets to come back to.
Oh, you've kept the money they extorted already?
Not all of it. Mr. Lurk gave some back.
He gave some to Mr. Chubb, who hadn't yet been extorted.
Well, we thought he had been.
No, you interrupted it, remember? You waited outside his shop to stop it happening.
Yeah, but for pain and suffering.
I'm explaining. I'm just saying. No, Mr. Chubb needs the cash. He's been wrung out. I'm just saying you are keeping the money that was extorted from the half of the street that.
We're giving back most of it.
Okay, how much are you keeping? There was 5 coin. How much you keep?
Keep 2, give back 3. How does that sound?
Yeah.
You keep 2 coin. Okay, so you've gained 4 reputation. Congratulations, you gained this earth, which means that your crew advancement is now slightly faster, 10% faster. You have gained the honourable reputation to your mysterious reputation.
We're so mysterious, but we're so honourable.
Word gets around to you that McCreary is deeply. Yes. It's not war, but you no longer enjoy the benefit of the doubt that you're on the path to him deciding to put a boot. You gain you gain some heat, but because you've managed to help Sergeant Walker, until your wanted level next goes up, anytime you gain heat, you gain 1 less heat. Unless you decide to waft around your calling card, bearing in mind that the calling card does offer reputation benefits, so sometimes you might decide you don't mind taking the heat and just want to level up your reputation.
It's important to put our names on the King Street thing. That was
100%. So this has gone very well. Now, you didn't interfere with a supernatural operator or contend with challenges above your station. However, you did develop a new reputation, so your crew has advanced. What that means is you either can gain a crew special ability or 2 upgrade points. There are a number of ideas you might have. I'm going to lay down a suggestion. One of the things you can do with your upgrade points is purchase a cohort, which could include, for example, a small gang to, in your name, protect the people of King Street. They would be a gang that answers to you. Now, I'm going to guess that it's a very small gang. Like, it's literally. It might be mates of Mr. Hounds. I'm not quite sure where you get them. They are going. If you do this, however, they are going to have to make a living off. So, although you're probably going to have to insist that they don't extort protection money, there are probably other liberties they would take if you did install a gang. Obviously, if you do it directly yourself, then you don't have that problem, but also it divides your time more. So talk about that collectively. Decide what you want to do. Vigilante crews like yours running a gang is a slightly different than a normal. There's no reason in theory it can't work. long as you're happy to manage it.
So Mr. Spider was going to suggest getting some muscle to help in this regard. I think, Luke, correct me if I'm saying something that's made up and nonsense, that everyone in the streets is expecting a protection racket of some sort. We are protecting them. We're not shaking them down for dues. If there are some thugs to contest with, but ones that aren't going to overstep the mark, then this is a significant improvement and won't financially ruin any of the businesses by doing so. And we have made it very clear that if we have someone who's overseeing our stuff and they overstep, they can come and say, hey, your people are overstepping, and we can go, oh, we'll deal with that, rather than telling them to fuck off. Yeah, no, Mr. Spider is very much in favor of that. Because
sorry.
You.
I have an idea, because yes, whoever we get in this area will need to make gainful employment somehow, and we have an alchemist of some description in our posse. Now, if the people are just making sure that the place is cured, but also happens to be a means by which illicit substances and concoctions can be fed into the community and then bought at coin, then that keeps them happy, gives them a job, something to do. And this is how Hound thinks. He will absolutely put forward why don't we just get them addicted to a substance and that will keep them happy, keep our enforcers happy, as a solution to how do the enforcers make money.
Works for Leech.
That's true, actually. Yeah, it does.
They want to be making things, and if it works out for everyone, they're happy with it. But it's whether or not that's the honorable.
Are the gentlemen strangers just doing Breaking Bad now? Like, is that just...
I am white, yeah.
Perhaps we turn our gang to the dealing of illegal narcotics later down the line, when Mr. Leech has time to produce narcotics, apparently.
Either that, or you could go with, I don't know, like the medical side of it, like giving them like painkillers or something that then they could distribute to people, or like flu medicine, I don't know, something like that, which is a bit more honorable, but it's still kind of a bit, it's drugs, but good drugs. Yeah,
I mean, it's 1890 something.
It's all cocaine.
They kind of just put cocaine in wine and say, here you go, this is for your flu.
By the way, you are tier 1, which means that your gang is scale 1, which is actually a gang of 3 to 6.
Oh yeah, boy.
I
think we put a pin in the drug trade for now.
It's but not a no.
But we put it on the maybe shelf and look at it from time to time.
Hound and Leech are just like making a business plan up at the back of the hideout.
Mr. Hound is your Jesse Pinkman.
Yeah, bitch. Magnets. Baffling science. So how are we going to keep these enforcers happy?
Well, it seems to me that there are a lot of businesses along this street. We have 3 or 4 gentlemen in our employ. They get jobs at these businesses, oversee the street, do some manual labor. Perhaps they do not pull their weight as much as someone who is hardworking and diligent could, because they must be looking after the street. But they answer to us, and they are a constant presence and threat. They get paid. They get paid by the business on the street. Perhaps they didn't want to hire another shop boy at this time, but fundamentally, our people are there. Our people are part of the community. They get paid. They do an honest day's work. And if anything happens, they know what to do.
What if, instead of having the other businesses hire the gang, we open up a business, maybe like I
Oh,
don't
damn
know,
it, Lurk.
a
We're not,
haberdashery.
we're not opening your haberdasheries.
But how else will I sell all of my cowboy hats to
My fine-
Londoners?
My fine things.
I would have
Okay.
never have thought to put them in a position of business legitimately.
Mr. Spider
Once-
will look at Mr. Hound with an honest look of, you went to drugs first?
Yeah.
Shop boys. No, it's not. Ugh.
Okay. So you spent an upgrade point on getting a cohort. Have another upgrade.
What are our options? GM
There are an
Malingong?
enormous number of options. I don't want to read them all out to you. But if you look, they're the sections with the square boxes. Layer, quality, crew
Ooh.
upgrades.
Hmm.
So, for example, your lair is hidden because it's in the basement of the club. It is not secure at the moment. You don't have particular good doors on it. You have a vault. You do have a vault. That's interesting. You might get your fourth and final training thing. You might decide to get quality gear and implement. You've already got quality weapons. Yeah.
What is the personal training? What does that mean?
What that means is that whenever you spend a downtime action to train your personal XP track, you gain 2 XP instead of 1.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's pretty handy because we don't have any wounds to recover.
At the moment, you have no wounds recovery. I don't think many of you have not enough. You don't have enough stress to worry about yet either. Actually, Mr. Spider has to.
I have a smidge of stress, but I can survive.
Could do that.
I
You
got
might
cocaine for that.
you might find it beneficial to get a workshop, given that Mr. Spider is going to have to repair. I think you could muddle on without a workshop. That's possible.
I'd say, yeah, the workshop is for tinkering and alchemy. So it gives Leech somewhere to, like,
Yeah.
if this was Mass Effect, somewhere for Leech to stand on the ship.
Yeah, the
He has to stand outside.
the
Yeah,
workshop the workshop is basically somewhere you could set your kit up. Well, it's not a lab, but it won't come with any fancy glassware or anything. You're a little bit reliant on just jars and that will come later. But yeah, absolutely, a workshop could be used for both technical things and chemical. Problem.
I'm down for I'm down for either a workshop or more defense. Basically, those are my 2 thoughts. But it seems to me that the workshop will lead to more stuff we can do, and I'm usually in favor of giving us abilities rather than.
What if, because one of the ones in the crew upgrades is dedicated crafters, is that like, could we like use the shopkeepers as our dedicated crafters? Where like they would make
Oh.
stuff for us, and because we're protecting them, we can, get like they can make special order whatever for
Oh,
us.
that's
Fix
interesting.
our broken things.
Yeah, if there's like a watchmaker or whatever,
I like that from a narrative perspective. Like it feeds into everything we've done,
Yeah.
rather than, and then we hire a personal trainer.
Chubb's personal trainer.
Chubb's life realizations.
Life coaches.
Yeah, I'm for it.
Yeah, I love that.
I like it. I think that's great.
Brad.
Is that what we're going with then?
Yeah. King Street rules.
Dedicated crafters.
I want them to paint us a nice mural.
Yeah, I guess we would need to know like what. I mean, we can always decide that later, but like what all businesses, like what are our crafting options?
I imagine we'll ask, and Luke will say, "Yeah," or "Nah."
It'll work exactly the same way that your load works. You say, "Is there a watchmaker on King Street?" I go, "Yes, there is a watchmaker on King Street."
Perfect.
It'll only get to be a problem when there's like 50 of them.
Yeah,
but yeah,
it's just a really long street.
Yeah, it's a winding Victorian London street.
Yeah.
I should like to be reminded how Downtime works because I have forgotten.
We shall indeed. So you've got everything sorted out there. Did you express the goals, drives, inner conflict, or essential nature of the crew?
I think so.
Yeah, we want it to be
Up to you to
honourable.
decide. It's not up to me to decide.
Yeah, we had a plan, and we made it our goal to be honourable.
Okay.
We did it. Then we
you
did.
get another experience point for that. Okay, fantastic. So downtime, you have 2 downtime actions. Because your faction is not presently at war.
Could you remind me the research clocks we have at the moment?
On either character sheet.
Well, I only have the one, so I assumed that.
Anything you're personally researching, there's no research on the crew character sheet.
Okay, so I've only got the one thing I'm researching, and I've got no segments filled in it.
Well, as books, you've already researched haven't you?
Oh, I thought the clock would go away when that was done. Am I looking at the arcane tomes then? I'm doing something.
I don't know. You have been thinking about working on the door, translating the writing on the door.
Oh yes,
But you haven't actually begun doing it yet.
I'll start then. That's great.
So yeah, the downtime action, the generic downtime actions are as follows. Okay. So you can acquire temporary use of an asset for a future store. You can embark upon, as Mr. Spider's about to do, a long-term project. You can recover your wound. You can spend some effort reducing your crew's heat. You can train to mark experience. In this case, 2 experience for everything except 1. You can indulge your vice to reduce stress. What else can? Yeah, I think everything else is covered by long-term projects. Mr. Spider, now I believe you have to. Oh, you don't have to. If you don't, you'll take 1 stress automatically. But you don't have to.
Zoe and Ash, do you want to go through the thing?
Do the what, sorry?
Do you want to go through downtime?
Yeah.
Because there's like some questions that need answering. I only want to do it together because I have stuff that can affect other people's downtimes.
Yeah.
I think that what Mr. Lurk would do is because all right, question. My shady friend is Lawrence Petra, the city clerk. The city clerk, are they like related to like police and law enforcement? They like
well, I guess the answer to that is it exists in a state of ambiguity until you tell me what it is exactly that it could be that they're to do with, enforcing business tax. It could be that they're to do with housing. Really, it's up to you. Once you decide, we'll decide, but it's really up to you.
Because I think what I want to do is reduce our heat, because the guy, Sergeant Walker, said that, we have a file on us at this point. And because I know somebody who is, potentially sort of at least works with like paperwork and is involved in that, I think that if I could talk to them and try and have them, subtly kind of minimize that, maybe put the file in like the back of the cabinet, or, I accidentally forgot to, whatever. I think having them do the paperwork manipulation to try and lessen that. I think that's what I want to do.
Yeah, okay. Fantastic. So reducing heat. So yeah. So essentially, you go to now. This is a contact that you have. Lawrence, you picked Lawrence. You have a good relationship, really good relationship. So, this isn't something you're going to have to. Lawrence isn't going to extort you to do this.
No.
But obviously, it does involve him going out of his way, doing something. If he were caught doing it, is a bit of a problem. So, you're going to need to make some sort of roll to persuade him to do it, which is probably going to be consort, sway, something social to get him to do it.
Yeah, I mean, the only one that I have a pip in is command, but I don't think that's the direction I want to go. So either consort or sway. Let's go with, yeah, let's consort, I guess. Consort.
So that is taking him out for a drink, having a nice chat and a catch up, and then gradually introducing the idea. You could help me out in this way. Yeah, I mean, you can always push yourself for a bonus die. You don't have any stress at the moment.
Is it worth it?
With 0 dice, when you roll, it will roll you 2 dice and give you the worst result. So having 1 bonus die will.
Okay.
I'd say 2 stress for some heat is probably.
Okay. So controlled.
Yep.
Standard,
yep.
but add a bonus die?
Yep, that's right.
Is that?
Great, okay. Now this is not like a normal roll, so it's not pass fail. So that 3 isn't a fail. That means you reduce 1 heat. Do that for you. So yeah, you've gone down 3 heat, 2 heat. Very good.
Nice.
Because when that heat fills up, you get a permanent wanted level. And the only way to the wanted level is to send someone to or to the game. But yeah. Not for wanted level 1 yet. Okay, very good. And your second.
Oh, I get 2?
You get 2, unless your faction is at war with another faction, which you're not quite.
Then can I use my other one to reduce my stress?
And indeed, so you indulge one of your vices. So,
yes.
So, dear members of the audience, we're going to meet a new character who we haven't met yet. I would like you all to put your hands together and give a warm gentleman's stranger's welcome to Mr. James Sully Sullivan, who is the daylight name of Mr. Lurk. Mr. Sullivan, you have found this. You've been working quite hard. You unwind in a couple of ways. So you've got 2 vices.
Yes.
Which of these vices are you going to spend some?
I think that he's in a pretty good mood because he, his background, his day job, he sort of does the opposite of what the gentleman strangers did tonight, where he is he does the extortion. So he's feeling pretty good about himself, and he's like, I'm finally, making up for what I normally do. So he's feeling great. So what he's going to do is go home to his wife, say, hey, honey, let's go out, night on the town. Let's go get some nice dinner, have a date night sort of thing. So he's going to just spend some quality time with his wife.
Ah, fantastic. That's a lovely one. So,
inquiring minds need to know.
Yes.
Is Lurk's wife British or American?
Oh, she's British. Yes, she is her name is Mary, and she's a nurse, and she is the sweetest, and we love her.
Zoe
definitely sounds fake.
Zoe knows how. The thing is, this is Zoe participating to the max level. Because none of you were brave enough to give me a wife. Although I will say this, Mike did give me a full orphanage. Lay an entire orphanage on my altar. Okay, so the way that relieving stress works is you've got a little button above your stress meter that says indulge vice, and you click on that.
Doop. Oh, Do I have bonus dice? What is the dice?
I don't think you have bonus. What do you? How do you get bonus? I don't know where you'd get bonus dice from. You might get bonus dice from a thing, but you don't have it.
Okay.
Hey,
What it's
Bonus.
doing, is it's rolling your lowest attribute. In the case of Mr Lurk, it's resolve, which is at 1. So it just rolled your resolve. You rolled quite well, actually. You got a 4 on your resolve. How this works? Oh, you literally relieve that many stress.
Oh,
So
hell yeah. So I'm fully unstressed.
You lose 4 stress.
How much stress did Mr. Lurk have to start with?
Literally the
2.
2 from. Oh,
You overindulged then.
oh, you've overindulged.
Sorry, but rules help control the fun.
Okay, so you've overindulged. This is
Too much, wife.
Too much wife. You've got to have a disciplined marriage. You only spend certain hours with your spouse. Okay,
No.
so you've overindulged. Remember that this is a vice, not an addiction. You're not overdosing on wife, but it just means that you're possibly enjoying your time with your wife and perhaps neglecting some of your other duties.
She's making me so happy that maybe I'm questioning quitting.
One of the overindulgence consequences is your purveyor cuts you off. Your wife goes, "Honey, it's too much. Just can you give me some distance, please?" But we're not going to do that.
That's enough wife for you, Mr. Sullivan.
Your character vanishes off for a few weeks and just goes on holiday with the wife.
Bye.
I think you start shouting loudly at your wife about all the criminal deeds you do and attract to heat, rendering your downtime actions farcical.
Mr. Lurk is a wife guy, confirmed.
Okay. None of these really work for me. Let me see if I can think of an entanglement. The wife cuts you, I'm leaving you.
Gets a second wife. More wives.
Oh, I know. I think you fall afoul of a culture clash while on your date night. I think you fall afoul of some very specific, nitpicky. You go to a really nice place, but the thing about nice places is they're not all nice people there. And I think you clash with someone who thinks less of you for being a foreigner.
I try and tip the waiter.
Oh yeah, you get really you get into an awkward situation where you're being like fairly reasonable, but you escalate it to where you're like, why is this the polite refusal thing, or what's going on? Am I actually insulting you? And what ends up happening is
He calls someone mate because he thinks he's being friendly, but in fact he's called someone mate and they're like, excuse the fuck out of you.
Someone interprets your actions as aggression, and they're a little bit on the delicate and self-important side. So they summon a policeman. You don't gain heat, don't worry. I really wouldn't do that to you. That would be demon behavior.
It'd be funny.
I mean, it'd be very, very funny, but I'm not going to do that to you. However, you might recall that you have a policeman who doesn't like you very much. Yeah. So Constable Roger Darmot, this happens to be on his beat. And he's delighted that you're in trouble. You haven't actually done anything, unfortunately, that warrants an arrest, but you've had a nice bottle of wine with the wife, and he can smell alcohol on you. So he's decided drunken affray has been going on, and you have to spend a night in the drunk tank at the local station.
Look, don't call him mate. You do this every time.
So you have to spend a night in the drunk tank, and what's the mechanical consequence of this? I'm not going to make there be a mechanic. I think your wife is very disappointed in how this situation has gone down. And I think, like, your wife is going to have to suffer a certain amount of notoriety because, obviously, Constable Darmot's going to make sure it gets about that you weren't actually arrested. You were detained for a night for public drunkenness. Not probably true, but unfortunately you'd upset someone too posh and delicate to be upset, and Darmot will take any opportunity to overblow things. So that's what happens to you. The wife's she's a little bit cool on being seen with you in public for the. So it's not quite your vice purveyor has cut you off, but because that would be like a divorce. It says here, if that happens, you have to find a new purveyor. Like, oh, sorry, you've run out of wife. Find a new wife. But that's where you are.
Okay.
A trumped up public affray has occurred, but you've successfully removed all of your stress, and you've successfully reduced the crew's heat. Who would like to downtime next?
I am happy to.
Mike, fantastic. Well, as he cackles himself to death, down. Mr. Hound.
First one is going to be rather simple. I'm going to do a bit of training in prowess in my downtime.
Fantastic. So take 2 XP in prowess.
Wonderful. And then I would like to start a long-term project. I'm going to I've got 2 in mind. I don't know which one I should start first. One of which would be make the orphanage self-sustaining and just get that in a nice, healthy position. One of which is to stalk, what's his name? Oh, the wrong'un. I've already cursed his name numerous times this session.
McCreary.
McCreary, yeah. Stalk McCreary, learn all of his ins and outs, so basically with the long-term goal of being able to roll that into any engagement role we have against him. And I just want the playbook of his life.
You want to be able to go, no matter what the plan is. I know where he'll be and when, because I've watched him for the past 3. Right, fantastic.
Both are good. Like his trauma is soft, so the orphanage has its appeal, but vengeful is one of his special abilities. I think I'm going to go down the vengeful route. We'll start strong, and he's just going to start his little buck of McCreary. I want to be everywhere he is. I want to watch him from afar.
Okay, so yeah, I take you being very discreet about this. Don't want.
Would love to, yeah.
We'll make that an 8-segment clock if that's okay. Then I think just because it'll be a slower process, but I think just safe. Perfect. So I will remind you, and also reminding everyone else in the audience, that Mr. Hound has another long term, which is his adventures in the occult. And he has 1 segment out of 6 on a clock called You See It. I'm sure whatever that is fine. So, long-term project. So, yeah, I guess what action are you taking to do this? I guess it's a study or a survey, something like that. Maybe
yes.
a hunt?
Let's have a look at hunts. Gather information about its location and movements. Yeah, it's a hunt.
I think any of those 3 work perfectly, so pick your favorite.
I will go hunts because I am a hound after all. Control position?
Yep, position won't matter.
Whip.
Okay, so that's fine. You got a 2, so that is 1 tick. Again, this isn't a pass-fail roll. You accrue a tick on your project. You're beginning to get the start of a shape. You did not indulge your vice, and you have 1 point of trauma, so you must now take a point of
beep. Yeah.
And Ash or Izzy?
Let my go.
Yeah.
So I want to put some XP into prowess. Is that right? Like I can do that, yeah.
You can do that. You will gain 2 XP in prowess.
Awesome.
Perfect.
And then what else can I do? I'm unsure of what else. I
Okay, so
can-
you can relieve stress, but you don't have
I
any.
don't
so
have any.
Don't do that. You can acquire an asset for an upcoming score, but you don't have any planned scores. So you mean you're welcome to, but I don't know what. You can start a long-term project, which includes. I mean, you've seen the sorts of things doing. Could include crafting, for example, as a long-term project. I know you get some things for free. Just for being a leech, unless there's something specific in mind. You can recover injury, but you don't have an injury. You can also reduce heat, reduce the gang's heat. You can train. You can't train prowess again, but you can train insight, resolve, or your personal.
Probably just train then. I can't really
That's fine.
think of that. I don't think we're not like too high on heat, so I'm not really too
No,
worried about that. So probably just train. Probably just put something into resolve. I think.
put two in resolve.
Awesome.
Great stuff. We have to introduce another character that we've not yet met. Although the downtime hasn't actually involved, because Mr. Leech has been downtiming. Mr. Leech returns to the accommodations that they've rented, and we meet Doctor Ellie Carver.
Hello.
Who I think, who I suspect has a flat above a chemist shop or some pharmacist.
It's probably super dingy, but like
It's-
there's
yeah.
one clean corner where she does all her.
Of course, it's dingy. Did you see how many
Stuff.
quote marks I put above the word doctor?
Yeah. Oh. Yeah.
Oh, woman,
A
gentlemen.
woman, gentleman.
A lady gentleman, if you will. Excellent.
Gentle lady.
So you've done it. Well, Doctor Carver, Dr. Carver is as much a surgeon as anything else. Actually, that's probably true, given your recent.
Dr. Carver is a surgeon.
Yeah, well, I get all my surgery done at Chubb's off the top, whatever it was called.
Yes, you still somehow go to the only barber surgeon left in London. We're not
Chubb's off the
quite
top.
sure how that's
definitely.
happened, since medicine is regulated now, but okay. So you trained. That's fantastic. And Ellie takes off that horrible mask. It definitely gives you an air of mystery, but my God, is it sweaty and
Yeah, I imagine she's got like permanent like. You know,
just a
when we all
red
had to wear
circle.
masks.
Yeah.
Yeah, like some sort of or like even when it's like sunny, like she has like sunburn on a certain part of the face, or like you know.
But it all works for the air of mystery. And finally, Mr. Spider, how would you like to spend?
What up, chicken butt? I would like to begin. Chicken butt. I should like to begin by relieving some stress. And
Okay.
I should like to relieve some stress in the office.
You want to be your obligation vice.
I think basically, having spent a lot of his time Mr. Spidering about, and putting his brain to somewhat use, he's feeling kind of fired up, goes back to the office, and is going to throw himself into a bit of town planning.
Indulge away.
Ooh, both my knuckles just cracked. Both. I have two knuckles.
I think.
The house.
Well, you have rolled a 4, so you have wiped out your stress, but like Mr. Sullivan,
Oh.
you have overindulged.
No,
dear.
that's a terrible shame. But I think you'll find that the Nathaniel Breaker has functioning vice.
Oh, you are correct. You are correct. So you can actually adjust it 2 down. You're right.
Which means I will adjust it 2 down, wipe out my stress completely, because
And move on.
basically Mr. Spider has the sort of brain where he can throw himself into work, get on the verge of burnout, keep going a bit, and then just kind of go, I'm going to go home and lie down for a day or 3,
can I check? You've got 2 coin in your pocket. Where'd that come
Yeah.
from?
I don't know. Last season.
I know. I was just double checking. That's not the same 2 coin I put in the crew stash from.
No,
Fine.
that's an old 2 coin from before.
It's so easy with Roll20.
That's your good luck 2
to
coin.
infinitely replicate coin.
Sir, that is my emotional support 2 coin.
Please don't touch it.
Please don't touch my coins.
Not without my permission.
So that's your first action?
Once again, functioning vice has helped me enormously. I'm very proud of myself and of the crew. I would then like to put 2 experience points into insight. So I wish to level up.
And you must.
That filth. And then I think you will find, because I am calculating, I think I might take me a third little downtime action.
May indeed. Oh,
Mr.
and
Spider.
So Mr. Spider has an individual ability where he can give himself or someone else an extra downtime action for free. Anyone can take an additional downtime action, but it costs coin.
Not my emotional support coin.
If there is a third action any of you are desperate to take, you may spend resources.
But it's why I usually try and go last in the downtime order, because then if someone desperately needs a third action, I've got it. But then if people don't desperately need it, I can use it for important stuff. Look, also, the spider is very good at downtime stuff. I'm not built for the uptime. I just like to sit in my... I'm just going to sit in my office until you come back from the store.
A fair number of the spider's special abilities start with the phrase, during downtime.
So I would like to work on my long-term project of door. Basically, I want to speak the language of angels. Which doesn't sound mental.
I do not know how to get rid of clocks from this display.
I wondered why I had 2 additional clocks.
I did wonder why I still had so many clocks.
I think I do now. I think I know.
Shit. I rolled a clock.
I don't know for sure. It'll be something I can look at.
There's a padlock underneath the clock section, which when you unlock it, you can delete clocks.
I thought that was a bell.
There's a bell under each clock.
Whoa!
So everyone stop the clock.
Everyone's clicking clocks.
Clock.
Don't tell Gonzo. Clock.
Oh no.
So what are you going to use to?
I think it's very straightforward. I'm going to use Zoe. I think.
What am I doing? What?
I don't know. Mike just said Zoe in a really sinister way, and I was just getting on board.
Okay.
It's pretty straightforward. I have some texts that contain the words I'm looking for. I think I'm just going to be beginning by studying.
Yeah, I meant to make that a 4-part clock. So you roll that, and I'll sort that out.
Can I add to that in downtime? Is that something I can do?
You can push yourself during downtime.
Then I'm gonna. Give me that stress.
I could offer you a devil's bar. I don't think I'm gonna play.
Nah, I'll just do stress.
You can learn the language of a door, but a second door will appear.
Fuck.
You won't know which one you
closes.
translated until it's too late.
Oh, suck my dick!
Nailed it.
What? How much dick am I sucking?
466 dick street.
Did you say a critical?
Double
Critical
critical.
6 dick.
Critical six.
Well,
That's
Critical
my
dick.
that's
my name.
That fills 5 of your 4 segments.
Whoa!
So, oh my god, this just got
Critical cock.
This just got unexpectedly
I
exciting.
think I know what our next adventure might involve.
Ooh, the
This-
glass
This
door.
just got really hold on, I need to. Goodness, amazing! I'm so glad I've. Where is it?
I love how during downtime, one of us is getting yelled at by his wife, and the other one is like discovering all of the secrets of the universe.
Well, basically, in uptime, Mr. Lurk was all like, "Hey, you people of the streets, I've come to help you. I'm Mr.
Sorry.
Lurk. I'm here to help you." Pew. And in downtime, it's like, "James, I can't believe you've done this. I'm so embarrassed. I'm sorry, dear." And in uptime, Mr. Spider's like, "Go and fight a people. I'm going to stand here with my gun and just intimidate someone and just be over here." And then in downtime, it's the magic of angels belongs to me.
So, you acquired as part of the arcane library what claims to be an Enochian Enchiridion. The title is mostly a pun, but it's actually not. You don't think too much of it because the entire half of the book is about using the characters for divination rather than as a language. But there is a folded up note at the beginning of the phonetics section, which reads as follows: Mr. B. I wrote to Lord C, no answer for a month. If anyone can read Enochian glyphs, it's him, or a member of his family. Do we think a journey in person to Witch Cross is in order? Now, fortunately, Mr. Spider knows things that Izzy might not think of.
Hey,
And knows that if someone is called Lord something, there is a book that they appear in, unfailingly. Which means
I go and get myself a copy of Twats.
Yes, you go to your shelf and fetch a copy of Twat's Peerage. Is it really called that?
Well, it can't be Burke's Peerage. That's a dog.
Burke's Peerage is is trademark, a real book, so I guess we have to call it Twat's Peerage.
It's just a list of all the good boys in the city.
Places I like to pee.
So, you can either wait until the next downtime to pursue the next part of the project, or you can spend coin to begin it now.
You've got coin.
My
Drive it like
emotional
you stole
support
it.
coin. That's what it's for. That's
it.
why I was keeping. I'd like to spend an emotional support coin on Twat's Peerage, please.
You open up a copy of Twat's, and you know what to look for. You know you're looking for you're looking under C, and you know you're looking for a seat at somewhere called Witch Cross. So yeah, roll study. It's
I take stress.
a 4-segment clock. Yeah, you can take more stress.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna fucking do it.
Spider's going to be stressed out to the Pepsi Max soon enough.
Yeah, but you can imagine him kind of tweaking on cocaine while he's flicking through Twats.
Oh yeah, Mr. Spider has settled down in his office. He's put all his books round the door. He's taken a tincture of cocaine and he's like, I could see time. It's all good.
Colours.
I can always see colours, Mr. Leech. That's how eyes work. I'm not a dog.
Yeah, Mr. Leech, do you have ophthalmic issues you need to discuss?
Possibly.
That's good.
Just a 4. Not as good, but just a 4.
Just a 4, however, is 2 ticks, so you're halfway there.
Ah. But it does mean that I imagine whoever, because it's Mr. Leech that's kicking around a lot to do a lot of training and stuff, that Mr. Leech has never seen Mr. Spider anything other than immaculately dressed.
Yeah.
And it is sort of the middle of the night. Leech is like, I've done as much training as I can. I'm going home. I'm going back to my chemist's shop. And walks downstairs from the little upstairs bit where Leech does their tinkering. And Spider has come back to the kitchen to get a drink. Like, collar undone, sleeves rolled up, kind of carrying about 4 books. And is just kind of thinking something aloud. Basically, he stopped masking. He's still wearing his mask. But he's so used to muttering to himself in his brain that now he's just like, I'm thinking, I'm doing it.
I think.
Fucking hell.
I don't think this is a clock. Because you are looking in an alphabetized index. I don't think you need to spend a clock doing it. So, and also, because I love ending a session on teasing what will probably be the next session. So, irresistibly, if you're okay, I'm going to change my mind and make it just that was a success you rolled with that 4.
Oh no, I've gone from half a success to a full success. Woe is me.
Constantine. Defunct with Edgar Constantine, 4th Baron Constantine of Witch Cross, with agnatic union between Edgar and one Miss Clavering, daughter of noteless person. Issue. Joanna Eloise, born 13th of March 1760, died at home 13th March 1859, without issue. William John Edgar, born 21st of August 1768, presumed dead after excursion to Holy Land in the November of 1792. In 1790 married Miss Evangeline Mancy of Carnarvon. Their issue: Eustace Jonathan, born 28th of October 1800, hanged upon the charge of murder on 18th of March 1850. 1826 married Miss Gloria Dunbar, daughter of the 2nd Baron Dunbar of Leamington, who died 23rd of March 1850 by suicide. Their issue: Wilhelmina Joanna, born 1835, unmarried, resides at the family estate in Wych Cross. No legitimate issue. Arms: in pale argented sable dexter, an axe outward gules sinister, a flame azure. Motto: in lumine eis imperamus. Creation by writ 26th of December 1677. This edition of Twat's Peerage is dated to last year, so you may reasonably assume that Wilhelmina Joanna Constantine is still in residence at Wych, unless she's met some misfortune in the last year.
If that's the teaser for the next session, Mr. Spider discovering that, then to wrap up that scene, he's come upstairs, he's brought his copy of Twats with him so he can get the better light upstairs. Mr. Leech is preparing to back away out of the house and be like, I'm not going to say goodbye, this will be awkward.
Mm-hmm.
And Mr. Spider is leaning over the table, going down, reciting this out loud to himself as he's going down the list, and he looks up towards the other side of the table. For a second, Leech thinks that Spider is looking at them, but realizes that, of course, lurking back in the shadows, Leech can't be seen. And Mr. Spider says, "Do you know what, Christopher? I really think you're onto something."
Oh no, Mr. Spider's got ghosts. So, a trip to Wych
Stress
Cross
ghosts.
may be our next adventure. I suggest Mr. Spider begins taking a copy of the door. Yeah, so 2 weeks from today we'll be going on a field trip out of the smoky city of London and into the countryside.
Yay!
Fresh air, fresh air. Not for you, Mr. Leech. Back in your mask.
It's a long old journey. The nearest train puts you a few hours away by coach. Not a relaxing, but you may yet have an interesting time nonetheless. But this was a fantastic session. Thank you, everyone, and thank you for watching. It was great. Gentlemen Strangers are back, baby, and we will be back in 2 weeks' time. Which will be the 30th. To continue. Oh my god,
How
it was a
spooky.
busy old weekend for me. Got Ember Guy today. But this was a lot of fun. I hope to have a lot more fun later on. I hadn't intended that this Constantine plot would happen yet, but it
I'm just
all
that good.
blossomed from the Downtime action, so I'm quite
The
excited.
downtime actions of Mr.
A
Spider.
Halloween episode indeed, Bowman. It will actually be a really good. It's actually perfectly timed. I couldn't have timed it better. And I'm going to pretend I did time it deliberately. So 2 weeks from now, we shall assemble once again. Keep your eyes on the skies. Thank you so much to Zoe and Izzy and Mike and me. Thanks to me for doing this. Thank you all for watching. I forgot to load up. But look, if you are one of our patrons, the frantic clicking is gotta go to the Patreon. But look, you're all beloved, and next time I'll read out your. I don't even know the login. But you're all loved and appreciated, and hopefully this is but the start of a new awakening for the Trash Crew. So keep an eye on our Discord server and our Twitter, at @UCrew, and we will announce things as we come up with them. We're a brainy bunch, and sometimes we come up with stuff, so you never know. Until 2 weeks from now, friends and trash bags, we love you very much, and we will see you then. Au revoir.